morning. My name is Tina Booth, and I'm the Director of Asset Management with the Housing Authority. The Housing Authority, along with LA Family Housing, would like to welcome you to Canoga Park Place Apartments. Woo! We're extremely proud of this project as it represents the very few of the Project Homekey sites, motel conversions that have come to lease up. We are honored to have you all join us this morning for this wonderful grand opening. Just a brief overview of this morning. We'll hear from a few speakers. We'll do our ribbon cutting, and if time permits, we'll take some time to set up a unit for a well-deserved individual. I get the pleasure this morning to introduce the council member of this wonderful district. Councilman Bob Blumenfield was elected to the Los Angeles City Council in March of 2013 and re-elected twice in 2017 and 2022. He represents the 3rd City Council District, which spans the northwest portion of Los Angeles in the San Fernando Valley, including communities such as Canoga Park, Reseda, Tarzana, Winnetka, and Woodland Hills. He has been active in efforts to address the homelessness and housing crisis in the district and throughout the city of Los Angeles. This project is the latest in a long line of housing and homeless solutions he has helped move forward. When he became council member, the West Valley had 0 permanent supportive housing, transitional housing, or public services for the mental health and those drug addicted. He helped lead the creation of new permanent supportive housing, cabin communities, hotel conversions, and more that have brought thousands of critical beds to this district. As the vice chair of the city's Housing and Homelessness Committee, he continues to expand housing options, deliver services, and works with homeless outreach programs to collaborate on how to better deliver for LA's unhoused people in our communities. He continues to prioritize and find solutions to tackle the homelessness crisis in the city. Let's welcome Councilmember Blumenfield.
Tina, thank you so much for that warm introduction, and more importantly, for all the great work that you do. It's really nice to be here with all of you. We have amazing partners who are making such a difference in our community. This site has a great history. We were just talking about the history. It started in April. In fact, I have this certificate. I'm going to show you something here. It's not a certificate. We brought a little something special, this plaque. But the date on the plaque is April 5th, 2020, because that's when this site was originally going to become, when we were dealing with the COVID crisis, trying to figure out how do we get people just off the streets and into housing, and this idea of Project Homekey. And we partnered with LA Family Housing, trying to figure out locations as fast, stand-up locations as fast as we could. And this site became one of those locations back on this date, April of 2020. Now, the reason we didn't give it to you then is this key that we made up. It was for Project Homekey. It doesn't really look like a room key. It looks like a home key. It's big and it's special. So I'm going to use that as the reason we didn't give it to you then. So we wanted to wait until this actually became a site of permanent supportive housing, which it did, thanks to the great work of everybody here in LA Family Housing and HACLA. It took a while, as we all know. These things, great things, sometimes take a little bit of time. But this place has been really wonderfully transformed. And I've gotten to see it over the process of that transformation, seeing the pool get filled in and seeing the greenery come up, and really being able to see what this is going to be in a very short period of time, where lives are going to be transformed, where people who are in need of housing, formerly homeless, homeless people, formerly homeless people, people at risk of homelessness, who a lot of whom are living in this area, but just really don't have a place. This will be that place. And not too long after, the old sushi place will add to it, adding additional units. So this is really a joyous day to be here today, to mark this, to cut the ribbon, to celebrate this new chapter in this building. This building, those of us who've been around here a long time have seen it go through lots of transformations, and it's been a hotel, and but really now it's taking on this wonderful new chapter where lives will be forever changed in a very positive way. So I'd like to, maybe Stephanie, present this to you. This is a Homekey. You can tell by the size and the ornateness of it. And it's for Canoga Park Place, and it's to mark this amazing moment. All right. Center.
You want to hold it up? Big cameras?
What's that?
This one's?
Oh.
Can you hold it up?
Thank you.
Okay, and our next speaker this morning will have remarks from, I believe, Jack Trent Dorfman on behalf of the Assemblyman.
Hi, morning. My name is Jack Dorfman with Assemblymember Jesse Gabriel's office. He is up in Sacramento, so apologize that he couldn't be here today, but I'm happy to be here in his place. It's a pretty good way to start your week if you get to open up 51 units of affordable housing with some great partners and with the council member in his office, and just very happy to be here. So I do have a certificate on behalf of the assembly member and the state legislature, just helping congratulate the Housing Authority and the council member's office and all the stakeholders who have been here, LA Family Housing especially, just for making this happen. I know it took, obviously, as the council member was saying, a lot of time and a lot of hard work and energy, and it's created something really positive for this community that, can really use it. So on behalf of the state legislature and the assembly, hopefully this is something that can be in the office, so then when people walk in, they just feel supported, and they may not have always felt supported by their government or community, but hopefully this, small thing can help them feel a little bit of that positivity when they walk in. So happy to help present this to you.
Okay, we will have remarks from LA Family Housing, Stephanie Glaske-Gamer, Executive Director.
Fast and curious here. I was trying to go back and find my pictures. Because really, when I pulled in this morning, it did take me back. April 5th, 2020, just less than 3 weeks from when the pandemic was announced. The Super 8 became our first Project Homekey site out of 5 that LA Family Housing was operating. And at the very early stages of the pandemic and with Project Homekey, the focus was on our vulnerable adults that were still unsheltered, and it was primarily seniors. And I remember the disability bus that was here because almost everybody that came in were seniors, many were in wheelchairs, and our team used to do, it was a 24/7 operation as Project Homekey, and we hired up about 250 staff in those first 3 weeks of the pandemic to open up those Project Homekey sites, and this was really ground zero for us. All of our learning happened here, and a lot of incredible impact happened here. When we had the opportunity to partner with HACLA to convert this Project Homekey site into a Project Homekey, it really was the best type of evolution in the work that we do every day in helping individuals and families transition out of homelessness and poverty. Often there is a step coming into interim housing before being able to move into permanent housing. And when Project Homekey was initiated by our governor with those first COVID relief funds back in It was 2020, yeah. It was the fall of 2020 that the city purchased this site, and we took ownership in December, I believe. It was a recognition that we were addressing a health crisis in a city with a far deeper, in many ways, homeless crisis. And so to take those health crisis, COVID relief funds, and be able to apply them to our housing and homelessness crisis, and to work with such partners, whether it's our elected officials, or the Housing Authority, or the City of Los Angeles, to make this come to fruition, it's really been a great journey. This beautiful, as we toured later, this beautiful courtyard was a very scary pool to us. It wasn't a scary pool itself, but for us, as owner or operators of a site with a pool, that's always scary. I remember this pool a lot. Anyway, so it's a really beautiful morning to see today. These units complete. We have all of the residents identified and matched and just waiting to move in. I think we were just waiting for a final inspection. Did we get it? Next week. Okay, so the week after, I hope all of the residents move in, because they're just hanging in motel rooms right now waiting to come on in. And they came from this community. You talked about partnership. Councilman, LA Family Housing is so proud to partner with your office, with Assemblymember Jesse Gabriel's office, in providing, this is our 4th property here in CD3. There used to be 5 before redistricting. But this is our 4th property in your district, both providing interim housing at our Willows site, permanently affordable rental housing at our Alabama site. We're about to break ground on an innovative HHH modular permanent supportive housing site, also in your district and here at Canoga Park Place. So we are proud of this partnership. We're grateful for our partnership with the Housing Authority and all the resources that you brought to bring this project to fruition. A couple of thank yous of who we could not do this deal without. Of course, the LA Family Housing, or now LAFH Builds development team, led by its executive director, Elda Mendez-Lemus. Allie Day as the project manager of this site. Stop. LA Family Housing's Homeless Services team will be providing resources and supportive services on site. That team led by Kimberly Roberts. That team will be addressing the needs of all the residents here as a people-centered focus, with a people-centered focus, acknowledging the trauma that many of our participants have experienced. We will be bringing recovery support, mental health support, activities with daily living, and general connection to help build community once everybody moves into their permanent home. In addition, we are grateful to Egan Simon for the design of this beautiful property. There are definitely constraints. It is great to take an existing asset and convert it into permanent housing, and yet it's an existing asset. And so you have a bit to work around, but we are really proud of how we designed and adapted the motel into permanent homes for all of the future tenants. And finally, to Lucy Development Company for the general construction of this work. We think it's been a beautiful project, and we are excited for phase 2 to begin. And with that, I say thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thanks, Stephanie. I'm Jenny Scanlon. I'm the Chief Development Officer with the Housing Authority for the City of Los Angeles. And if we're going to take a little walk down memory lane, I do remember, and it's hard to forget, early COVID days, and hearing from the state that they had this idea for a program called Project Homekey. And this was, as Stephanie said, after they had already initiated Project Roomkey, and they realized very quickly that it wasn't just about housing people temporarily, but really getting to permanent solutions. And so I think we are forever grateful to the governor, Gavin Newsom, and his incredibly smart team that figured out, with the help of the Housing and Community Development Department at the state, that Project Homekey was going to be a through line to all of us here in LA and throughout the state to figure out how to get to housing solutions fast and furiously. And so I think that was the charge of Homekey, right? If for any of you who don't know Project Homekey, it was get it done quickly. Tell us how you can get a property into your hands and get it leased up in 6 months or less. That was the Project Homekey charge during the first phase. And so I remember calling Stephanie and saying, hey, do you know any good properties that we could purchase? And so Stephanie, of course, in her back pocket had like a list of 20. So she pulled out her list. A lot of them were the Project Homekey sites. We got in touch with the owner of this property. We were very lucky that he was willing to sell. And so we acted extremely quickly. I think we put our application in to the state in July. We were awarded in September, or notice of award, and we purchased the property, as Stephanie said, in December. It was immediately operating in a conversion from Homekey to Homekey. As transitional housing, we continued with the help and expertise of LA Family Housing to operate it that way until we were able to shut the site down in late 2022 and start the hard work of turning this into what it is today. And I say it is hard work because this was before something called ED1. This was before the city really understood what it would take to convert motels into housing. So this, as Tina mentioned, was one of very few projects that the city really tried to get through, understanding how to get this through code, how to entitle it, how to allow for this building, which was a hotel, to turn into permanent housing. So it was a learning curve and learning experience for all of us, but I want to thank everybody in the city of Los Angeles, in particular the mayor's team, LADBS, planning, fire. Everybody sat around the table with Egan Simon, with us, with everyone, and figured it out. And it was not easy, but we figured it out. And we are here today because everybody was absolutely dedicated to the cause of getting this project built. And now that it's built, we are looking right behind us at phase 2. When we were offered this property, the owner happened to say, I also have this sushi restaurant right behind the property, and if you want to buy that, HACLA, you could buy that too. So we had some forethought. The housing authority said, let's purchase both. And we were very lucky that the state also felt that Homekey was so successful, they would have a round 2 and a round 3. And in round 3, we were able to take the sushi site to the state, get another over $5 million in funding from the state of California to convert that site into basically a phase 2 for Canogapark Place. So we'll have 24 additional units of permanent supportive housing, building out right here on this property 74 units of permanent supportive housing. So we're really excited to be here today with everybody. We're so grateful to our partnership with LA Family Housing as co-owners of this beautiful location. And we look forward to our next groundbreaking and grand opening for phase 2, and to welcoming all of our amazing and wonderful tenants who will call this place home. So thank you all for joining us today. I want to welcome everyone to take a tour. We've got a couple of units open. We also have the office open, and we've got some coffee and Portos in there if that doesn't, keep you here for another 30 minutes or so. Please enjoy some coffee with us. Enjoy touring the units, seeing the site before our tenants move in. And I'm going to ask the council member to join us first for a ribbon cutting right behind us. And then for those of you who want to watch the council member and his interior decorating skills, he will be putting together one of our units and prepping it for our first family that moves in. So if you don't mind, I'd ask everyone to join me right behind us on the lawn, and we'll do our ribbon cutting.